Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm Chris.
I'm Hannah.
And we're Staycation Oz. So we're back today for another episode. We're going to talk a little bit about our budget and how we afford the trip and how much we've saved so far. So both of us have full-time jobs, which has been really beneficial, obviously, to save. We've been really fortunate to save a lot of money through COVID as well. With the lockdowns, we've been stuck at home. We haven't been able to go to work, so we've been working from home. And just to give you an idea, that alone for me, like I was paying $100 a week on tolls. So, not doing that for 3 or 4 months is a huge savings. So things like that, we've just been really conscious of saving as much money as we can.
Yeah, so I suppose fundamentally, in terms of what you can afford for a trip, it's how much can you save in the first place, and then how much does the trip cost. So we sort of went right back to the basics and addressed all of those. We spent quite a lot of time on the budget, didn't we, up front?
Yeah, we really had to get a position of where we were at this stage. So we've been saving for about a year, well, at least a year. We've been putting a little bit of money even before that. But we had to get an idea of where we were for our budget, so that was the first step to see where we were at that stage when we started saving.
Yeah, and I think we're really lucky as well. Both of us have jobs which relate to budgeting, forecasting, spreadsheets. So in true Hannah and Chris style, we've built a spreadsheet.
Yep, the Excel geeks we are. We had to build a spreadsheet for it.
Yeah, I think we spend about 40 hours a week on Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
So why not a bit more time? So we started looking at what our costs were at the time, just in everyday life, to just work out how much we can save a month towards the trip. So we knew we had 12 months in order to plan and save. So we looked at our income, which was fairly fixed because we both have salaried jobs, and then we realised that what we could affect most was costs. So we went through all of our direct debits, listed all of those. For some things we cancelled them, so some memberships, I cancelled my gym membership, things that I wasn't going to the gym anyway because of COVID. So we really just started to assess what were the things that we needed versus things that we were paying for and not really using. So how could we get that monthly saving amount up?
Yeah, we committed ourselves to putting about a third of our salaries, combined salaries, away into our savings per month, at least a third. So that at least gave us a good benchmark to aim for. And we knew if we kept doing that, by the time we were ready to leave, we'd be about right in terms of how much money we'd need for the trip. And it's small things. Like at the start, we both gave ourselves a monthly allowance from our salaries. So, for example, that started off at $1,000 each a month, which is quite a lot. But as we got better at saving, we reduced that as we went. And we ended up being, really below 500. And I think even for a few months, we didn't even give ourselves a salary. So, that was anything for, dinners, anything we wanted to buy, any monthly spending money that we had. But small things like that, like a gradual approach, really helped us to get better at our savings, because at the beginning we were probably pretty rubbish at really putting a lot of money away. We just weren't used to doing it.
Yeah, and I also think that within that spending money as well, we started buying little things that we knew we'd need for the trip. So even in terms of, I got the GoPro as a birthday present, but then started getting a few of the accessories, using my spending money, and we just knew that there'd be some pretty significant upfront costs. So we have actually been buying little bits and pieces the whole way through the year. Yeah,
so for the last year, exactly, we've been buying bits and pieces for the trip, so we didn't have a massive lump sum all at one point and feel a bit overwhelmed. We just accumulated things gradually over the year. So that really helped with us saving money. And we really tried to do that outside of the third that we were putting away. So kind of every month I'd buy something out of my spending money just to keep on track with the bits and pieces that we needed for the trip.
I also got given the fun task of looking at all of our insurance. So we changed a few insurance companies did a bit of a shop around. We saved quite a bit monthly.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you can save in insurance if you just have a look when it's time to renew.
Yeah, we have previously done Barefoot Investors, so we knew some of the principles from that. So I know that we checked health insurance. We also looked at our excesses for things like our car and home insurance to see if we could increase our excesses and reduce our monthly payments. So all of these little things that we were doing were all with that goal of increasing the amount that we could save per month, because over the period of 12 months, that could add up to quite a lot of money.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it's things like not having tolls by staying home, working, and the amount of fuel also on top of that, and the amount of coffees I save buying every day and lunches at work, like all this adds up. So we're incredibly fortunate to keep our jobs through COVID and save quite a lot of money through COVID, which we probably wouldn't have done had it not happened.
Yeah, but had it not happened, we'd have still gone through the same process of identifying what all of our costs were and eliminating what we could to put ourselves in the best position.
It was cream on the top, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It made it a little bit easier to get to our goal.
Definitely. So the spreadsheet that we built effectively, and I think we're going to share this spreadsheet, the template, on the website.
Yeah, so we'll put it on the website, www.staycationoz.com.au. Link in the description as well.
Yeah, so this spreadsheet effectively has one tab, which was the pre-trip tab. So that was what's our income, what are our costs. Costs were broken up into what are our monthly costs and also what are our trip costs. So what do we need to buy before we go on the trip? That then gave us a trip starting balance. So we also had savings. So we added in savings and the selling other things. So we went through a bit of an eBay phase as well.
Yeah, we did. We gradually sold bits and pieces that we thought we wouldn't need on eBay. And as we got closer to the trip, we kind of sold more and more things. And yeah, you can make quite a lot of money selling stuff on eBay. So that was definitely help as well.
Yeah, so we set up a separate bank account called our Holiday Saver. And everything, all of the funds, everything got tipped into there. So that was really useful.
And the Holiday Saver, like, we shopped around for the best account with interest rates as well. So even to get little bits and pieces, like Hannah said, they all add up. So, I think we went with Macquarie for quite a while. They had the best interest rate
at the time.
At the time, and that that helps. That adds a couple of $100 on each month.
Yeah, but then the intro offer dropped off for that. So we then found our normal Ubank account had a higher interest rate. So we then moved it over to Ubank.
Yeah, so I think we were just always proactive with looking at the budget and reviewing it almost on a monthly basis, just to track where we were, make sure we were still on target for where we wanted to be at the starting trip. So I think that's the key is not only to proactively try and save every day, but also just review it again and again to make sure you're still on track. Because, things change, like our trip costs change. We discovered things we wanted to do, costs that we weren't aware of at the start. So all of these things had to be factored into our budget. And we entered them all in the spreadsheet, which helped spit out a starting trip balance that we'd have. And then we worked up the costs from there.
Yeah, so that segues nicely into the other tab on the spreadsheet. So one tab is how much can we save before the trip, so what's our starting position, and the other tab is how much will our trip cost. So the two kind of work in parallel, because if what the first sheet is telling you can save doesn't align with the second sheet, which is how much you want to spend or how much the trip's going to cost, then you're going to have a problem. So we spent quite a lot of time on the second tab as well. So that was effectively based on the trip starting balance that we've calculated and looking at how long the trip's going to be and how we want to do the trip. So obviously you can it's impossible to say how much it'll cost to travel around Australia because it completely depends how you're doing it. Some people may be wanting to do it in a tent or one of those rooftop tents or a camper trailer or a full-on caravan or RV. So it's really hard because everyone's experience is very different. So we actually tailored the spreadsheet because we weren't sure for a few of the elements. So we actually tailored it so we could tweak it between sort of more of a budget trip and more of a luxury trip, looking at all of those different elements. So that tab effectively, what's going to affect how much your trip costs is how long you go for, how far you're travelling, and how you're doing that, how you're doing the trip, whether you're doing it budget or real luxury trip.
And it'd be really interesting. What we might do at a later date is once we've been on the trip for a few months, just recap and see how we got on, see if it was useful and if we're still on track, if we're way over or way under. So I think the key thing is the sheet isn't a one-off. Like it's great to do one-off and you can do it that way, but when you regularly review the sheet and make sure you're on track, make sure your spending hasn't gone way over, that's kind of where you get the real benefit, and you can adjust your plans accordingly, I guess.
Yeah, so at the moment we've got the tab that calculates what our trip starting balance is, then the tab that says this is how much the trip's going to cost and this is what our end of trip balance is going to be. And so I think as we go along, we'll actually develop the spreadsheet with some extra tabs on how we actually track that to budget.
Yeah, that's right. And Hannah's built some really good instructions in the sheet as well. So feel free to download it, and there's a full guide on how to use the sheet. And shoot us any questions as well if you've got anything, or if there's anything you want added to the sheet or anything like that, we can always review it and update it accordingly.
Yes, obviously we built it for ourselves.
Yeah.
So
but we thought it would be good to share.
Yeah, initially it was a focus very much about how we've spent it, but then when we realised it would be quite good for other people and potentially useful for people who don't love spreadsheets quite as much as we do, that we were more than happy to share this.
Yeah, and
on the video, on the website.
It's a daunting process as well. Like budgeting is the biggest part of your trip. You got to make sure you can afford it. You got to know what the costs are. So it's important. As boring as it is, well, we love it, but as boring as it is for most people, it's really important to go through properly and make sure that you've reviewed it properly and you know where you stand.
Yeah. There are some great apps out there if you don't like tracking what you've spent that will actually allocate it into sort of topics. We personally like to manage it within an Excel spreadsheet, so most online bank accounts allow you to export the transactions, and that's probably how we're going to do it.
Yeah, it's it's just what we're used to. So we're, like we said earlier, we're both very good at Excel, and we're in it most days. So it's just something we're familiar with, and we know how it works, and we're good at it.
But yes, to Chris's point, I think what we will do is, this is obviously before we've spent a cent on the road. We've obviously bought most of our upfront gear, which again we're happy sharing the amount of money we've spent on various items as we go along. But I think, a few months in, once we've actually started tracking it and seeing what the actual costs are, we'll do a second video.
Yeah, and you touched on a good point there. That's the other thing is, knowing your budget on the road. So, we have a rough idea by using this spreadsheet of what it is. We're kind of aiming at $1,000 a week. Just for the two of us, I feel like that's pretty comfortable. Like, I feel like we'll be okay with that. But there's also, we've got quite a lot of costs at home as well while we're on the trip, which you do have to take into account as well. Like, for example, we own a house. We're renting it out, we've decided. It was either rent or sell, but given the COVID at the moment impacting everyone, we just thought now's not the good time to sell.
And we like our house.
Yeah, we love our house. we
That's
didn't,
another thing.
Exactly, yeah. So we've rented out our house, and it doesn't quite cover the mortgage, so we've had to budget in for that as well. And then, that comes with a whole lot of other things like rates you have to pay yearly. You have to pay for water supply. You have to pay for insurances at home. We've put all of our stuff into a 20-foot shipping container. So, we've got monthly fees on that. So it's important to just know all of these costs up front and factor them all in as best as you can. And our little spreadsheet that we've built enables you to do that.
Yeah, so that how much will the trip cost is broken into how much the actual trip will cost on the road. So you're on any on the road income that you may get from doing anything, if you've got a particular trade or even sort of non-skilled labour, plus those on the trip costs, and then it's also broken into your at-home income and costs. So you may still have some income from, whether it be you may have some investments or rentals or even interest from savings, and then the costs that Chris mentioned, so your ongoing costs that you're still continuing having at home.
So there's a lot of benefits of doing a budget, obviously knowing where you're at, how much you can afford, but it also gives you a good visibility of, you can prioritize things that you really want to do on your trip. So there's a couple of things in particular that I'm really keen on doing, which are a little bit costly, like the horizontal falls, for example. That isn't cheap. Maybe swimming with sharks. I've been recommended that at Port Lincoln, so I might do that as well. But these things can be costly, so it's important that you don't get to that point and go, oh my God, I've got no money to afford any of this. So we will be splashing out on some of the bigger ticket items like that, but also we'll be trying to make savings as much as possible, and really trying not to go take away too much cooking at home. We've got a big caravan with an oven, with a stove. We've got a barbecue, so we've bought these things so we can use them and hopefully save money in the long run.
Yeah, let's spend the money on the things that matter to us, the experiences that we're going to remember and things like that, not just because we couldn't be bothered cooking. And but having said that, we'll still eat out where there's interesting places to eat.
Absolutely.
We absolutely want to support local restaurants and local businesses. So that's not to say that we're going to just do like a once a month Costco trip and then not buy anything.
No, but it's all a balance, isn't it? So it's important that we don't go overboard, but we pick and choose the places we really want to support and try out and experience.
Mindful spending.
Yeah, rather than just go out and get the pizza every night or whatever.
Yeah, agree.
Which can easily happen because I love pizza.
So I think that's pretty much it in terms of where we're at with the budget at the moment.
Yeah, so download the spreadsheet and have a look. As I said, shoot through any questions in the comments or send us an email if you've got any questions about it. We'd love to help out. So where are we now? So we're a few days out from our trip now. So originally we were planning to go on the 1st of March, but the little snap lockdown in Vickers kind of put a little bit of a hold on that. So we're going on the 4th now. So only a couple of days later, let's be honest. So we're a few days away. So we're really excited. We're frantically packing the van at the moment. So we've still got a bit to pack.
Yeah, so in the next episode, we'll actually cover some things that have already happened. We have picked up the caravan.
We have picked up the caravan. We have done a towing course. So
we've moved out of the house and packed that.
Yeah, we've moved out of the house. So we're at my parents' place in Mornington at the moment. So we're very, very close to leaving. So only a few days out. So it's all happening at the moment, and it's amazing how busy we are. Considering you thought we'd have nothing to do, but we're so busy at the moment.
I'm still at work. Chris has finished work.
I've finished work, so I've been off for about a week. And Hannah's got a few days left. So we'll get the caravan weighed in a couple of days and then set off on our trip.
Yes, I think the next episode will just be packing up and getting everything ready for the trip, picking up the caravan. And I hope you'll find that interesting. A bit of a different angle versus episode 1 and 2, where we've just been sitting talking to the camera. Yeah,
we'll get more out and about as we go, and so our first stop will be Dalesford. So we're really looking forward to a few days out there. I think it'll more be that time. We'll just be getting used to the caravan and how things work, and setting it up and packing it down and reversing into spots, which is tricky because we're beginners. So the first few days is really just going to be teething, just getting into the life, I guess.
And probably realising everything that we meant to or should have bought that we haven't bought or that we've forgotten. So at least Aylesford is near civilization in terms of if we need to buy anything.
Exactly right. Yeah. So we'll see how we go. That will be a test run, and we'll catch up with everyone there and have a video out in a couple of weeks of how we got on so far.
Great. Well, thanks for watching this video. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, please like it and subscribe and leave a comment. Any recommendations or questions, please leave them below in the comments, and we'll get back to you.
See you later, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.